Todd, I've got a quick question. What are your thoughts on the difference between full synthetic oil versus conventional?
Full synthetic's obviously going to be way more expensive. If you're going to run full synthetic, I'd recommend putting this OPS system on there. What the OPS system does is filters all your oil, and it has an evaporator in it to take any of the moisture out of the oil. So hot, cold, you're going to get moisture in that oil. Another nice part about it too is it has a oil sample port on the side of it. So all you got to do is start it up, push in on that button, and it'll fill the oil without using a vacuum pump or all kinds of crazy. You can take that oil sample and send it into OPS, and what you get is an analysis back. This is an example one that I got. I've seen some oil samples that you get from Speedco and whatnot. You better be a chemist to be able to read that. But OPS kind of narrows it down to where they put it color coding. They put comments in here on what could be going on at that time and what actions you need to take with where you're at. So their motto is change your thinking, not your oil. Full synthetic, you could run 100,000 miles and know what's going on. You can sample this thing. If you're hypochondriac, you could sample it every 5,000 miles. I kind of call it my anti-oh shit device, because on one of my trucks, we're running the oil field, it started getting coolant in the oil. So when we were running the sample, we could see that coolant was starting to get in the oil. And it was an older Caterpillar, it was time. But the oil field was doing real good at that time. It was 3 months before that driver called me and said, hey, it looks like milk. And then we brought it in and in-framed it. I knew it was coming. It could have been in the middle of nowhere when it turns to that. So another example I got on another one of my trucks, we're running over the road and the soot level kept getting higher. Each oil sample, that soot level kept climbing up. And in December, when things slowed down anyway, we pulled it in, pulled number 5 piston out, the ring was broken. So it kind of told me, and I was able to prepare for that. So even if you're running conventional oil, it's good to use the OPS system. If you're running synthetic, full synthetic, if you're going to spend that money on that full synthetic, I definitely have one of these on there.
How often would you say that you'd have to change that filter out?
So they sell multiple different lengths of filters. They have a 10-inch, an 8-inch, and then they have this little shorty, which this little shorty I would imagine for like a pickup or something. Primarily, we just have the 8-inch and the 10-inch. The 10-inch will go 25,000 miles. The 8-inch will go 20,000 miles. And you only have to change your main engine filter every other time so that that paper doesn't come apart. Because this is going to filter down to 3 microns. So on my trucks, what I was doing is I was running the 8-inch filter on it because I kind of wanted to change fuel filters. I didn't think fuel filters would last until 25,000 miles. So it's a little bit cheaper to do the 8-inch, and I wanted to do everything at the same time.
All right, so how about these wires on the backside? What do those go to?
So what this does is hooks up to constant power, and this is a pressure switch. So as soon as it sees pressure, it turns on the evaporator. There's 2 lights in the top of it that will come on, a red and a green. I've had customers call me, oh, I got a red light. Well, the red light just shows that the evaporator's on. So once your oil temp gets to a certain level, it doesn't keep heating your oil. But the green just shows that the pressure sensor's working and it's turned everything on.
Where would this mount on the truck?
So every truck's a little bit different, wherever there's room. So nowadays, they're kind of using up all that frame rail that they can. It can go anywhere. It just has to gravity feed back to the pan, and it catches pressure from whatever orifice it can. So on a Caterpillar, if I'm putting it on the driver's side, I can hook up right below the oil pressure sensor. If I'm putting it on the passenger side, I can hook up to the oil filter housing.
How long would it take to install one of these?
It's not a half-a-day job to put one on. It really depends on how bad the frame rail is.
So is that a full flow filter or a bypass filter?
It's a bypass filter, so what this is going to do is filter a gallon an hour. So if you got a 10-gallon system and 10 hours running, it's going to filter through your whole system.
So most of the time when you have oil changes, the oil is absolutely disgusting. What's it going to look like going through one of these?
So it's still going to turn black. I've had customers before talk about, oh, is it still going to stay that golden brown? No, it's still going to turn black. From the sample, you're able to see that there's not any contaminants or anything in it. You actually know what's going on in your oil. When you change your oil, is your oil bad?
Yes.
How do you know?
Judging by the miles.
I think that's why they did the motto, change your thinking, not your oil. We're doing it just because our dad said change it every 5,000 miles, every 10,000 miles, every 20,000 miles, or the manufacturer says change it. Who's right? You know, because if you get on any of the social media stuff, there's 80 million opinions of when to change your oil. But if you're getting a sample like this, you know, it shows the viscosity of the oil, It shows any contaminants that's gotten in the oil. So ISX is bad about fuel pumps coming apart. If you start getting metal in your system, it's going to show up on the oil sample, and it saves you going through. I've seen them as bad enough to lock the crank up. If the sample saves you a major repair, it'll pay for itself pretty darn quick.